Everybody, we have a beautiful Schenectady day today. Exciting.
May the Lord prevail.
I want to quickly, I'm Karen Johnson. I'm a former mayor of Schenectady. I was first elected in 1984, the first Democrat in a long time, and we've been really fortunate. We've had some good Democratic mayors since then. I want to introduce just a few of the elected officials behind me, if they would raise their hands. The city council members here today: Lisa Brazo, Ed Kosher, Marion Porterfield, Peggy King, and John Palomini, a candidate. And from the county legislature, our chair, Anthony Jasinski, Gary Hughes, Richard Russo, and candidate Rich Paterni. We have two assemblymen with us, Phil Steck and Angelo Santa Barbara. And to keep things in order, our sheriff, Dominic. So any of the public officials who are here, just give a wave, okay? It's a great honor for me to MC this event today. I know that being mayor of Schenectady is a hard job. There's a lot of problem solving and bringing the community together. Now, whatever Gary decides about whether he's going to run for mayor or not, we have just a short time to wait. But I want you to know that I found him to be a very effective mayor. He quietly gets problems solved, talks to people about their concerns and takes them seriously. He has developed resources to solve problems the city has had for years. And Mayor McCarthy is a critical player in the successful unified economic development wins we have experienced lately. So let's hear a little more about Gary from some key leaders in our community. First, Camille Sazanowski, president of the Goose Hill neighborhood, one of many leaders who have focused on giving voice to neighborhood concerns and dreams. Camille?
Good morning, and I do mean good morning. I'm Camille Sazanowski, president of the Goose Hill Neighborhood Association, and I'm honored and very proud to be here this morning to be part of Gary McCarthy's re-election announcement. Gary has been a very active member in our neighborhood for many years. I was extremely happy when he was elected 4 years ago. At that time I thought, wow, we have someone who understands the classes and the challenges that they face, and our mayor certainly hasn't disappointed us. He continues to reach the established goals and promises he made in his last run. For example, his homes program. It is in the process of eliminating blighted and distressed housing by converting them to family homes, thus not only enhancing and strengthening our neighborhoods, but establishing just stronger fiber in the neighborhoods. The partnership he also established with Habitat for Humanity has converted 2 homes on Van Rankin Avenue, built a third, which is in progress, and continues to work on the situations and promises for Carey Street in the new construction, and that's all happened within 18 months. These two initiatives alone in my neighborhood have spurred excitement rather than naysaying. When attending various meetings, I hear the same positivity being expressed by other neighborhood leaders. So it's happening throughout the city. Now on to my favorite, Steinmetz Park. Our neighborhood association put a lot of time and effort into obtaining funding for improvements to the park. Unfortunately, the project sat for several years, and it was Gary who showed real leadership in coordinating city, staff, and neighborhood concerns and working through the red tape to actually implement the park improvements. And we now have a rehab multi-purpose room, building actually, and it's got working bathrooms, which everyone is thrilled about, and a new pavilion. We also have 2 summer programs for youth going on up there. This will be the 2nd summer. In addition to the summer lunch program, all told, it's serving between 80 and 100 young people daily. And it's only benefiting the city in that respect by keeping our young people engaged and active. And it's truly exciting what's going on up there. We continue to see the development downtown in addition to activity and investments in our neighborhoods. If all the progress could be confined to one campus, it would be unimaginable, but they aren't. So we have to trust and keep believing in the man who's responsible for the rebirth and progress we've made in a short time. And Gary, I thank you for your dedication, your progressive thinking, and the challenges that you continue to
And for the gospel.
the continued challenges he proposes to all of us to keep improving things and making them better within our city. I'm grateful, and I look forward to the next 4 years of working with you, Gary. Thank you.
Next, we will hear from Jeff Stark, President of the Greater Capital Region Building and Construction Trades Council and Vice President of the Capital District Area Labor Federation, our partner in economic development. Jeff?
Hi, thank you. So, Gary, on behalf of our 14 building trades and 22,000 members, I'm proud to tell you that we bring today a very early and almost unprecedented endorsement. We don't usually make endorsements this early, but that's because we believe in Gary. And I had some prepared remarks because I was supposed to say all the nice things about Gary that he's done, like, paved roads and stuff like that. But I figure it like this, on the way over, I'm thinking like, okay, paved roads, keep taxes under control, economic development, that's what we elected him for, and that's what he gets paid for. Just like my members, they go to work every day and they get paid for that. And I says, how is this different? And I says, well, in a marriage, a good marriage, people do more than just cook and clean and support their families. They care for each other deeply. And that's what Schenectady has in Gary, a good marriage. We call that he or she is a keeper, and Gary's a keeper. And I'll tell you why he's a keeper. I'm going to tell you one story, a personal story. Those of you who know me know sometimes I'm not easy to get along with. And if I have something on my mind, I'll pick up the phone and call you. So one night coming back on the thruway, I had something on my mind, and I called Gary's cell phone. It's probably about 10:30 at night, and I left a message saying I expect a phone call back tomorrow as soon as possible. And about 15 minutes later, I got a call from City Hall, and Gary was in his office. And I said, what'd that be? You get thrown out of your house? It's 10:30 at night. And he said, no, I had some stuff I had to finish up, so I decided to come back here before I went home. And that's when I realized that Gary was a keeper, because there's a great marriage there. He cares deeply about Schenectady, more than just doing his job that you elected for and what he gets paid for. So, Gary, I want to tell you right now that we're here to endorse you, we're here to support you, but more importantly, we will defend you against all comers this year. So, please re-elect this man. He is a great man. He's a great leader, and he's been a great mayor for this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Our next speaker is Dr. Giuseppe Veglio, owner and dean of Paul Mitchell The School, an early addition to the Schenectady business revitalization, who also supports our young people with education and job opportunities. Dr. G.
Hello. Thank you. Good morning to the Honorable Mayor Gary McCarthy, City Council, to my business colleagues, and to all present here today. It is my pleasure and honor to speak and share my thoughts with all of you. My name is Giuseppe Veglio, and Dr. G to many of you who know me. I operate the Paul Mitchell School here in beautiful downtown Schenectady, and have resided in Schenectady since 1967 when my parents immigrated from Italy. Mount Pleasant has been my home for a very long time. After returning back from Europe, I bought my dad's house on 8th Avenue in Mount Pleasant and lived there for another 7 years with my wife and daughter. In 2010, my partner and I decided to bring the Paul Mitchell brand to Schenectady with the help of Metroplex, the Galeazzi Group, and local government. We saw the vision, and most important, the people we were working with. I'd like to say that Mayor Gary McCarthy understands the concept of revitalization. Many critics will look for what has not been achieved and point it out. That we do understand. But we must also look at what has been accomplished since Mayor Gary McCarthy was elected in 2011. I believe that you all agree that more needs to be done, and so does the mayor. He gets it. Remember the saying, Rome was not built in one day. I believe Schenectady and its people understand that. We must first build the nucleus of the city, which is here in the heart of Schenectady. I have traveled extensively to many cities throughout the world and lived in 4 different countries for more than a year throughout my lifetime. One thing I learned is that without a strong and structured government, the city cannot survive. I come from the medical field, and so I make an analogy that our city represents a cell. Our downtown represents the nucleus of that cell, which is essential to its survival. Yes, they have got it right. A lot has gone into building and strengthening the nucleus of our city, which represents all businesses downtown, and most of all, our government. Without it, the cell dies. With a strong nucleus, many resources can be at hand, and that will in turn help to rebuild the rest of the cell. I also believe the casino is the next catalyst to the revitalization of our great city, Schenectady. Mayor Gary McCarthy has been a great support system to our school in many ways. For example, speaking at our graduation ceremonies and issuing merit awards and proclamations to our deserving alumni. Being available on Free Hugs Day on the steps of City Hall, and showing the true meaning of community involvement and giving back to others. And little things that sometimes go unnoticed, like repairing the lights under the train tracks over State Street where our future professionals walk to and from the college suites every day. Mayor McCarthy and his wife Caroline have shown their support for our trade school with frequent visits for haircuts and color services. Yes. And we know. As Mayor McCarthy continuously puts his trust in us to help produce compassionate citizens, I pledge my trust in Mayor McCarthy to continue the growth of downtown, revitalize the city's neighborhoods, and create home ownership and opportunities in the community. Thank you, Mayor McCarthy.
Thank you very much, Dr. G. Very impressive story. And our final introducer is our Congressman Paul Taco, who needs no introduction.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Karen, for that introduction. I enjoy it. Look, I'm here not only to endorse Gary McCarthy for mayor, for re-election as mayor, but to wish both him and Caroline well. It's a commitment from both of them to the city that they love. So, look, 4 years ago, when we gathered together to launch the campaign for Gary McCarthy for mayor, it was an exciting time. It was one that pledged progress and inspired hope. 4 years later, we gather even more excited. This time, we're speaking with a track record. We're speaking with a track record that did build progress and pledges more and fills our hearts with hope and will continue to do so. I've known Gary a very long time. We go back decades, and I have watched him grow as an individual in government in very sound fashion. He has always had those excellent managerial skills, but they've only grown through the years. He's got that sense of analytical quality about him, a technocrat. I'm saying that as an engineer. I watch how he grapples with problems and provides solutions. And he has a vision, a laser-sharp vision, a glorious vision for this city, one that builds a shining city, one that understands that we have our strength in each and every neighborhood, where the mosaic of our people is expressed in a dignified way, and where the growth, the continued growth of downtown, offers that focal point that then spreads into the neighborhoods. So things are good and growing stronger. We need to keep Gary McCarthy as our mayor. There's no mistake about that. We need Gary McCarthy to return as mayor. Now, as to his abilities, I've watched him partner with different levels of government. I've watched him go to Washington and advocate with all sorts of representatives and agencies. I'm thinking of the Department of Housing and Urban Development, where he worked to make certain that housing needs were addressed for this community in a workable, doable way, again, in a dignified way. We have toured together, he and I, to inspect and better understand the infrastructure needs of this community. Again, to his technocratic ability. When we toured the water, drinking water infrastructure of this community, I was impressed with his grasp, his urgent need to invest in what we can do for this community's drinking water infrastructure and across the state of New York. He understands it. He had knowledge at his fingertips. He understood the vintages of various bits of infrastructure. He understood what was required, how it works. We look at what I call hidden spaghetti beneath the surface, out of sight, out of mind. In some cases, over 100 years old. Gary McCarthy understands that's an awesome responsibility. If you were to take that and make that a linear, it would take you from Schenectady to nearly Philadelphia. That's an awesome bit of responsibility. It requires analytical thinking. We have that in Gary McCarthy. We also know that he will work with federal and state representatives to speak to the needs of our veterans. Homeless veterans should never be an expression, never should be an acceptable expression. Gary will be working at that local level, the most important area of indoctrination of policy that will allow for veterans to enjoy the dignity of sound housing. And he has worked in a particular way. We all know this. It was made a big issue in the Capital Region. He worked with the local banking and real estate communities to provide not only affordable housing, but quality housing. He knows it's about filling our neighborhoods with sound chances of housing opportunities and continuing to grow the services of this great community. He understands and he adopts the mantra, working together works. And he has done that over and over again. When Gary McCarthy is faced with problems and concerns, he doesn't walk around those problems, he works through them. That's the sort of management, hands-on management this city requires, needs, and deserves. He's got an outstanding track record. He knows the programs, the policies. He can speak them song and verse. and he understands how they can be improved to tailor them to Schenectady's needs. State and federal officials need to continue to work on sound urban policy. We need to do that. It's the core, the hub of history, of services, of need. But with Gary McCarthy on hand to do this in a very expert fashion, with his professionalism, he doesn't deal with it with emotion, he deals with it with analyses and facts. So I present to you our candidate for mayor for re-election, a mayor who has an outstanding track record in just one term. I present to you Mayor Gary McCarthy. Mayor Gary McCarthy, the mayor Schenectady needs, the mayor Schenectady deserves.
Good morning. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Karen Johnson, thank you for being part of this. Thank you for your leadership that you've shown this community for a couple of years. That we've all known each other and worked together. Jeff Stark, representing organized labor. Some communities, they look for reasons kind of to polarize. Schenectady, we work together, where labor, business, government, we work together to strengthen it, to create opportunities, to solve problems. Dr. G, thank you. Appreciate your investment. Again, those diverse educational opportunities that are available in this community really set Schenectady apart from some of our sister communities. I want to thank my wife, Caroline, my brother, Gregory, for their support, patience, and tolerance. There's our County Democratic Chair, Mr. Landry, our City Democratic Chair. I'm proud to be a Democrat. I thank them for their support, for their leadership, and again, that ability to work together. I want to thank my colleagues on the City Council, Council President King, members of the county legislature, the chair of the county legislature. Really, it's not only a professional relationship, but it's a friendship that we work on problems and come together looking for solutions to make things better. Our neighborhood leaders, members of the business community that are here, I thank you. 4 years goes by fast. Shortly after assuming the role as mayor in 2011, I outlined 3 major focuses for the city of Schenectady. First was rethinking and better coordinating our code enforcement efforts to deal with distressed buildings. Second was to initiate the homes program, home ownership made easy in Schenectady. And third was the continuing support of our Unified Economic Development Team headed by Metroplex. All being done in a manner to stabilize Schenectady's finances and to continue the renaissance in downtown and promote neighborhood revitalization in this city. Our neighborhood code sweeps, done in conjunction with the police, fire, law department, and coordinated with other agencies, are producing results in getting recognition for our efforts. Just last year, look at all the violations that we issued. We had over an 80% compliance without any formal court action. And most of the notices we're issuing are courtesy notices. So we're trying to work with people. We're sending out the message that investing here, maintaining standards is important, and we're getting that response. That effort through our code operation with the law department, laid the groundwork for what was a $558,000 award last December from the New York State Department of State for a regional project which is going to be done in conjunction with the cities of Troy, Amsterdam, and Gloversville in the Center for Technology and Government, which is the applied research unit at the University at Albany. It's actually going to be more detailed explanation of that tomorrow morning. But this will be a pilot program to combat blight and better manage distressed properties. This will be done through innovative information sharing initiative, and I believe the work we're doing in Schenectady with our sister cities will also set standards for code operations across the state of New York, and there's even interest to take those things across the country. I started the Homes program in 2011 to change the perception of realtors, investors, and prospective home buyers of the city of Schenectady. We started with 9 partners: Key Bank, Prudential Manor Homes, they're now Berkshire Hathaway, the Schenectady School District, the Daily Gazette, NBT Bank, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, Legier Restorations, SRG Architects, Open Stage Media. We continue to add partners: Trustco, Caldwell Bankers, the Community Loan Fund. Right now we have 27 partners who participate in different ways to promote and encourage home ownership in the city of Schenectady. We continue to look to expand that roster of partners. We hosted Realtor Days in conjunction with the City School District to educate realtors on the opportunities in Schenectady. Our community was showcased through 2 major regional housing events: the Greater Capital Realtor Association annual meeting, that's GCAR, and then last April, we initiated and hosted the Strengthening Cities, Communities, and Homes Summit. That summit model is being used for an event later this month in Utica and will be used next year for one in Saratoga Springs. Our Unified Economic Development team continues to produce impressive results. The remarkable transformation of downtown was done over a period of 12 years and still continues. And I want to emphasize that. People look at downtown now and they think, oh wow, it just happened overnight and how spectacular it is. It's not done, and it didn't happen overnight. It is a lot of people working together over a long period of time. And when you go back 12 years, the one significant change that made that possible was the election of Democratic leadership here at City Hall and the election of Democratic leadership in the county. Even though we function transparently and it's not a criteria with who we do business with, it was the Democratic Party that provided that opportunity within this community for it to really excel and things to happen. That transformation downtown really happened with a group of individuals who many times work for competing companies, but who function as partners in progress for the city as a whole. Their efforts have enabled this community to see hundreds of millions of dollars in investments and the retention and creation of thousands of jobs, which culminated last fall with the award by the New York State Gaming Commission to Rush Street Gaming and the Gillespie Group for the right to build a $300 million casino next to the already planned $150 million Mohawk Harbor mixed-use development. This will transform one of the oldest brownfields in the United States into a riverfront destination of retail, a boat harbor, and upscale housing. I just want to go back through that. It's $300 million in the casino, and it's $150 million in housing and mixed-use development there. It's $450 million. It's almost $500 million in the city of Schenectady. And everybody... That didn't happen because of one individual. It didn't happen by accident. It's why I'm so proud to have everyone here today who played a part in that, in creating the environment to make that type of deal or deals possible. We used to look for somebody just fixing up one building was a significant thing. We now set the standards. It's just truly amazing. All this progress is helping to reestablish Schenectady as a leader. Our code enforcement efforts are being followed regionally. Our housing initiatives are being used by other communities. Our Unified Economic Development team is producing results that other communities envy. And with that positive stuff going, we continue to reduce crime. The data-driven policing has reduced Part 1 crimes, which are most serious crimes, by over 25% over the last 4 years. Chief Kilcullen's leadership is being recognized regionally and also nationally. He's being sought after as an instructor by other communities on how best to use the DDAX model for policing. Our data and information collection in our codes department this improves through our program with the Department of State in collaboration with CTG and our other sister cities. We will be better able to integrate into our police data analysis, which is going to produce an analytical management tool that will take the old ComStat model to really the next level. And it's exciting to be here. You know, there's people in this community who talk about the broken windows theory. It was a significant number of communities. That is an old concept. Technology management, the deployment of resources has moved to a different level. And we're really on the cutting edge of that. We are setting the standards, not only in policing, but in managing of resources within communities. And so it's exciting to be there. And when people talk about the broken windows theory and other things, it's good. We want them to talk about it, but I don't want them holding us back. I want to challenge the staff. I want to challenge the community. I want people to continue to set standards that make Schenectady unique. And if you look since 2012, our general fund revenues have exceeded expenses. That's 4 years of operating surpluses. We ended 2014. We ended 2014 with a $16.8 million fund balance. Our tax levy is stable. The fund balance has grown actually over 78% since the end of 2011. It's a dramatic turnaround in the finances of the city of Schenectady. And I tell staff at staff meetings that when something goes wrong, it's my fault. When something goes right, they get to take credit for it. So everybody here, give themselves a pat on the back. With a record of impressive progress that I'm proud of, strong community team of partners in that progress, a team that has produced extraordinary results, I'm committed to keep that team in place. With Lisa Perazzo and Ed Kosher seeking re-election, along with the two members on the council, John Palamini and Karen ZW, it is critical that when I ask for your support, that they are part of that team, that enable us to continue to do the great things that are happening in the city of Schenectady. And I want to continue to work with the relationship with those members on the county legislature, not only the city representatives, but those individuals in the full county legislature. And I want to make sure that with that team, that the best is yet to come for Schenectady. I'm proud of my record and my administration's accomplishments thus far. But as I've said before, that our work is not nearly done. It is clearly evident that Schenectady is viewed as a place worth investing in. From the business community to for families taking advantage of our great school district and colleges, to unique homeownership opportunities, as well as the recently created Schenectady Millennial Council, which cultivates a whole new generation of community advocates and future leaders. We've been extremely fortunate to receive a significant influx of talent, technology, and trust in our vision and goals. More proof that we are once again a thriving, competitive urban center in upstate New York and even beyond. The last 4 years, we have accomplished many things that individuals said were impossible. I intend to build on these accomplishments, using them as a cornerstone to continue the renaissance of downtown, the revitalization of our neighborhoods, and yes, even the reduction of property taxes. And I ask every resident to join with me as a partner in this progress to help unlock the full potential of our great city. As today, I formally declare my candidacy for re-election as mayor of Schenectady. Thank you.